All right, we got it. We're recording.
Thank you. Okay, that's the beginning of the recording for the Digital Navigators info session. Looks like we've got a good amount of people here, so I'm going to get started and we'll let people trickle in as I'm doing the introduction. So good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Carolyn Bennett-Glauda, the librarian for Education and Outreach here at Southeastern New York Library Resources Council. Thank you for joining us for the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley information session. Before we get started, I'd like to take care of some housekeeping. You are all here joining us here muted, and we ask that you stay muted for now. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the meeting, and at that time, you'll either be able to ask questions out loud or you can ask them via the chat. And speaking of the chat, there are a lot of us here today, so please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat now. Just let us know your name and where you're from. If you have questions about the program, please try to save them for the end so they don't get lost in the chat. And I hope that we might be able to answer some of your questions during the presentation. As you might have seen already, live captioning is available for this webinar. To toggle the subtitles on or off, you can use the live transcript bottom at the bottom of your screen and choose either show subtitle or hide subtitle. And if at any point, if you have a technical problem with either the captioning or some other Zoom related issue like sound or anything like that, just send a chat message to Moshe Siegel here from Southeastern and he will help you address that. So as you can see, this webinar is being recorded and a link to the recording will be shared with the attendees as soon as we can get it processed and online. So we have a lot to cover today, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions about this really exciting program. So let's begin. And I'm going to close my script. The agenda for today is that we're just going to start off with some staff introductions so that you all know who the people are working behind the scenes on this program. We're going to talk a little bit about a broad overview of what is a digital navigator. We're going to tell you a little bit about the funding and how ARPA fits into this. And then we're going to go into some of the details about the Hudson Valley program, what we're doing specifically here in our 8-county region. And then we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A. So to get started, I do want to introduce everybody. As I said at the top, I'm Carolyn Bennett-Glauda. I am from Southeastern New York Library Resources Council. We cover the same geographic region as Mid-Hudson Library System and Ramapo Catskill Library System put together. I'm working as the project manager for this, which basically means I'm just doing a lot of behind the scenes to coordinate meetings and resources and websites and things like that. So this is an equal partnership between all three of our organizations, and you'll see me now a lot at the beginning, and then you might start seeing other staff people. So I do want to give them a chance to introduce themselves. So next up is Tessa.
Thank you, Carolyn. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tessa Killeen, the Executive Director at Southeastern. And Southeastern's the grant administrator for our ARPA award. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. We've been working on this project since July. And Carolyn's taken the lead as our project manager. And we're working very closely with Mid-Hudson and RCLS on this project. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to pass the baton on to Kirsten now. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kirsten Krueger, and I work in the Library Sustainability Department of the Mid-Hudson Library System as the Outreach and EDI Specialist.
Hey, everybody. I also work in the Library Sustainability Department at the Mid-Hudson Library System. I work with Kirsten. My name is Casey Conlon. I'm the Library Sustainability Coordinator, and I'm looking forward to this program and working with all our libraries on this.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jen Park. I'm from the Ramapo Catskill Library System. I'm the Community Engagement and Talent Development Specialist there. Unfortunately, Grace was unable to be here this morning. So on behalf of her and myself, I'm saying good morning and thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks, everyone. It's a great partnership and I'm glad to have you all on board. Also want to introduce, they are not here right now, but our training partner is the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. We have contracted out with them to do the trainings. We've been working with Paolo Balboa, who's going to actually be running the training sessions in February. And new on board is Lo Smith, and they just got started. So they'll be joining us for the training as well. And they so far have been on the ball and have a lot of great information and have run this program before in Salt Lake City and New York and some other places. So a lot of our resources are going to be coming from NDIA, and you'll meet them soon. All right, so next up is just a broad overview of what is a digital navigator. I know many of you who are here have already looked through our website and have applied for the program already. And if you're coming at this fresh, it never hurts to have a little bit of a reminder of why we're here and what this is doing. So the digital navigators are adding digital equity to our social safety net. They are individuals who address the whole digital inclusion process, home connectivity, devices, and digital skills with community members through repeated interactions. Digital navigators are familiar with resources that relate to digital equity and help residents learn to use critical online services that provide guidance with social services. And digital navigators are able to assess a community member's need and competently guide them towards resources that are suitable for both their skill level and lifestyle. And our program is going to teach the program participants on how to be a digital navigator for your library or organization. So next up, I'm going to throw the presentation over to Tessa, who's going to talk a little bit about funding.
Thanks, Carolyn. So yeah, I want to talk to you for a few minutes about the grant that is funding this Digital Navigator program and our other ARPA projects. So this is the official, what you see on the screen is the official IMLS State Library Attribution Statement, which says the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley is supported with federal American Rescue Act, or we call ARPA, funds allocated to the New York State Library by the Institute of Library and Museum Services, or the IMLS. So this is the statement that you'll see on all of their promotional materials that we generate as part of the project. And basically it says it all. This is how it's being funded. And I'm just going to, Carolyn, go on, if you go on to the next slide. Just a little bit of background on how we got to this place. Last year, the ARPA funds were allocated to states through IMLS to help communities respond to the pandemic. So what New York State established in their goals, they established their goals based on the guidelines that they were given from IMLS. And what you see here are the goals that we've established in New York for digital equity. So there's 3 collaborative goals: to prioritize and fund digital inclusion work, which is access, device, skills, and support, nurture a digital equity ecosystem, and apply digital justice mindset to work in this area. So the New York State Library developed a subaward program for the councils, which include Southeastern, all 9 of us, so the entire state, every region in New York has an ARPA project. And we all have to have projects in these 3 areas. So there's 3 project areas components. There's the Library Museum Partnership Program, which we are doing as a grant subaward program, which is underway. There are the School Library System Digital Resources, which is we're doing in partnership with the BOCES School Library Systems. And then the third and the largest area is digital inclusion, which we're doing in partnership with the public library systems. So Southeastern's been allocated these ARPA funds to implement these projects through a non-competitive award process. Like I said earlier, we're the administrators for the grant, but we're working very, very closely with the public library systems and the school library systems and our members on these projects. So go ahead, Carolyn, to the next slide. Okay, so we have 2 digital inclusion projects that we're working on with the ARPA funds. Again, these are both in partnership with the public library systems. The first one is Beyond the Library Wi-Fi project, which will extend wireless internet signals at participating libraries. And then what we're here to talk about today is the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley. And this project will train library workers and community-based organizations with the skills to offer this new service in their institutions. So that's a little background. If you have questions for me later about ARPA and how we got to this place, I'll be glad to answer them. But Carolyn, at this point, I'm going to turn it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa. All right. So I want to take some time now to talk about our program specifically in the Hudson Valley. I will also note that the State Library is running a Digital Navigators program, and that is in addition to what we're doing. You are welcome and encouraged to join in on the State Library's webinars that they're running. They're their program is more of a broad overview of digital navigators and digital equity. And our program is going to be a very specific training on how to run a program in your library or organization. And we're going to give you tools and resources that you need to accomplish that. So the schedule we have is tight. It's coming, we've been working on this. We've been working on this really hard over the past few weeks, and we have a short turnaround time and it needs to be completed by the end of June. So with that in mind, the schedule is that the applications are due on January 21st. And that's a hard deadline on that because we will be notifying the applicants by the week of January 24th if they've been chosen for the program. If you have been chosen, your signed contract is due back on February 2nd. And then we will jump right into the training sessions, which are February 8th, February 9th, February 10th, and February 11th. They're each 90 minutes long. As soon as the training is done, we're going to enter what we're calling the planning phase. And that will go from February 28th to March 27th. And that's where you are going to work on setting up the program in your institution. And you're going to start doing outreach to the community and let them know that this is coming. And then from March 28th until June 15th, you have the implementation phase. And that's where you're actually going to be meeting with clients and doing the work of a digital navigator. And as soon as that period closes, we're going to need reporting back so that we can complete the grant process. And at that point, you are welcome to continue on the work of digital navigators, but it would just be outside of the scope of this grant. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about what we're going to do in the 4 training sessions in February, and that will be with Paolo and Lo from NDIA. These are going to be interactive training sessions, and they're going to be tailored for us. They're going to include resources that are specific to our region. The first day is going to be an introduction and discussion around the field of digital inclusion and how and why the Digital Navigator program is important. The second day, we're going to go over understanding the audience and using forms and what basically a day in the life of a digital navigator will look like. On the third day, we are going to share skills and resources and learn about specific websites that have information about broadband and technology. And then on the fourth day, we're going to be accessing information about digital equity and how to use data from the American Community Survey to assess our community needs. We're going to be getting qualitative data from the clients as well. And I want to stress that these classes, these training sessions are going to be both informative and interactive. So you're going to get information from Paolo and Lo, and then we're going to actually use Zoom to use breakout rooms and talk amongst ourselves and share and pair and share and gather ideas from the community. And then we're going to meet back again in a large group and talk about what we've learned. And once we have all of the digital navigators for the Hudson Valley chosen, we're going to break up into cohorts by library type. So the Mid-Hudson Library System regional people will be working with the with them, and then the Ramapo Catskill Library System region will be working with each other. So you'll be able to talk about things that are hyper local, and you'll be working closely with your neighbors and other people from your library system. So that's what the training session is going to look like, and that's how we're going to get it kicked off and get you all the information that you need. So from there, we move on to the planning and preparation phase, and that's February 12th to March 28th. And during this time, participants will develop their local program with the full support of NDIA and the system, so Southeastern, Mid-Hudson, and Ramapo Catskill. Participants will receive professionally made marketing materials and help with the outreach. So that is part of the grant that we applied for money for marketing materials, and we have a company that we will be contracting with that will be providing us with lawn signs, bookmarks, other kinds of like professionally made materials that we'll have printed, and we'll get your input on what kinds of things you might need. We'll host regular weekly phone calls, and during this time, you can join in as you need to with the cohort if you want to ask questions during the weekly calls. And then we will have access to a resource list so that you can start building up what you need to use for your clients. And as I say that, I also just want to point out just we keep using the word clients. It took a little while for us to land on this word. Clients is just the catch-all phrase that we're using for the people that you're going to be meeting with. It's an imperfect term, but it sort of sounded better than saying patrons or users or customers. So just we're gonna keep with that language of clients, and that's the person that you as a digital navigator will meet with a client. So next up is the implementation phase, and this is the last and most exciting part. So that's going to go from March 28th to June 15th, and this is where digital navigators will be expected to meet with at least 5 clients from the community during this time. Participants will be asked to complete an intake and assessment form and keep checklists when meeting with your clients. We will be doing this via a ticketing system, and you will be expected to meet with each client at least twice. So once for the intake and once for the outtake. And you can meet with them more if it's required. And during this time, we will host calls with NDIA on Thursdays at 12 p.m. And these are participants are expected to attend at least 2 calls a month. You may attend more as needed. And this is another place where we're going to separate the calls between Mid-Hudson and Ramapo Catskill. So I don't have it in front of me, but like one week will be the Mid-Hudson calls, the next week will be Ramapo Catskill, then Mid-Hudson, then Ramapo Catskill, and we have a set schedule for that. So you are expected to attend 2 of those calls a month. If for whatever reason you have to miss one, you can attend the one for the other library system, as long as you make 2 a month. And then as we get to the end, successful completion means that the digital navigator used an intake form and an outtake form describing the client's need and how they were addressed for each instance of meeting with a client. The forms and checklists demonstrating at least 5 interactions need to be submitted to Southeastern. And we're also the organization that you're going to sign your contract with. So you'll have that information. And then once you've completed that paperwork, your organization will receive the $900 investment incentive, and that's per digital navigator. And that is my big, broad overview. I didn't want to end up talking too much because I know that there must be a lot of questions. In general, if you have questions, you should contact the person, you should contact your system directly. We all are communicating with each other and working as a team. So we want to make sure that you're meeting with the person who you know the best. But for any reason, you can contact any of us for other specific questions if you have them along the line. So we'll keep giving you all of our contact information. We'd love to hear from you. So at this point, to open up the Q&A, just because there are so many of us here, if you have a question, if you could use the chat feature, that would be great. And if you would prefer to just open up your mic and ask a question out loud, just use the raise hand feature under reactions, and we'll just stack you in order of who asked the question. And I am going to just give myself a minute here to take a breath and close out my share so I can actually see the meeting. Okay. So as you're putting together your questions, I'm actually going to go ahead and answer a question that came up in the registration. Somebody asked about the digital navigators, where they are meeting with clients. Are they meeting in the client's home? Are they meeting in the library? And in general, this program is based in your physical location. So you would be meeting with people where you are, not where they are. However, you are welcome to do your digital navigator work over the phone or remotely via Zoom or screen share. So your clients can stay in their location and meet with you remotely. This isn't a home visit kind of program. So I hope that answers that one question that came through from the beginning. Are there any other questions that have come up since this presentation? And I'm also, another thing I'll do while we wait is I'm going to drop some links in the chat for you all. So you might have seen these links. I have one just for the landing page for Digital Navigators, the Q&A, and then the form for applying. So the first question I'm seeing from Brian, are clients mainly individuals or potentially organizations or businesses? The program is designed to work with individuals. Tessa, did you want to go more into that?
Yes. Let me look at the question here. Are clients individuals? They're individuals. They're individuals who identified through the coming to the library, calling, or however we're going to do the outreach to them, to you as individuals. And then we're going to have particular intake forms to gather information about them. And then you will have multiple interactions with that individual. What we've learned from NDIA and their Digital Navigator toolkit and their model is that this would involve at least 2 interactions with that client, but it could be more, helping them through whatever their need is. So there's definitely the first, and then there's the last, but there may be some additional interactions with that particular client. So it's helping a person through their particular question or issue that they may have.
Thank you. And that kind of leads into the next question from Michael as well, saying 5 interactions, is that 5 unique clients or 2 meetings per client, so 10 meetings. So yes, it is. It's 5 interactions is 5 clients. And for each client, you would meet twice. So the minimum amount would be 10. You are welcome to do more than that. And that's how we're counting 5 interactions. So Casey is asking a question for a member about whether the $900 incentive is 1 per organization or 1 per person trained. That is per person. And we are welcoming applicants more than 1 applicant per organization, but we are also factoring that into the selection process. We are limited to 100 digital navigators from the region. So if more than 1 person applies from your organization, we will be taking a look. We'll be going through the rubric to make sure that we're staying well represented. We're using metrics like how well the different counties are represented, what kind of community needs you have, and how many people are applying from the organization. So if fewer than 100 people apply and there's room for more than 1 person from an organization and your organization is serving a community that has a demonstrated need, then yes, we will allow more than 1 digital navigator and you will get the incentive per person. All right, next from Mance is the focus helping clients to get internet access, or is it to help clients with hardware, software usage, or both? That's a great question, because I think that will get into what we keep hearing NDIA refer to as the three legs of the stool. And I closed my cheat sheet on that. But the 3 legs of they talk about the 3 legs of the stool as a holistic view of digital equity. And basically it is, oh my gosh, I should definitely look this up because now I'm feeling on the spot. But it is, it's broadband access, it's, it is device access, and it's information literacy access. So we are not providing clients with hardware and software, but we will be providing them with resources to access affordable hardware and software.
If you look at the priorities from the state library for digital inclusion work are access, devices, skills, and support. I know that's 4 legs of the stool, but it's 3 things. It's access, devices, skills, and support.
Thanks. Yeah, and Kirsten just kindly passed me a note under the desk, and it says the 3 legs are internet access, computer devices, and digital literacy.
Yeah.
For some reason, the word literacy was like not coming to my head. So what an ironic word to not come there. Okay, so that's taken us through all the questions in the chat. Does anyone else have something at top of mind?
And
Okay.
the goal is digital equity. So those are the things that, and that's what's identified, in the state, in the IMLS and the state libraries plans, and what they want and what they're looking for is to try to reach, a place where there's more digital equity. So we're looking at the resources and the tools that people need to get to that place.
And yeah, and Casey asked, are we providing digital literacy services or directing people to digital literacy services? And only in so much as has been a primary focus of librarians, and that will be woven into the fabric of this training, but it's not specifically digital literacy training. And that as we develop our resource list, those resources might be coming directly from the library. Casey, does that answer the question for you? Okay. Kent is asking, can you give more information on the application process? Absolutely, I would love to do that. So let me pull up, I'm gonna actually pull up the application on my screen here. I really do love closing tabs, which is a good feature of being neat, but it often leads to me closing tabs that I was hoping to have open. All right, let me go back to my screen share. Okay, so here is the, this is the application process for the Digital Navigators of the Hudson Valley. I know many of you have come through this, and so far it seems like we've had a lot of successful applications, so I'm hoping it's fairly straightforward when you get there. Basically, we need your information, and this is the information of the person who's going to be working as the digital navigator, which might be different from the person who is the point of contact at the library or organization. So we'll just need your email name, the name of your organization. I'd like to just point out one thing, because we've had a couple people apply. Please be specific when you put in the name of your organization. We don't know everybody's acronyms. So if you please use the most formal name of your organization, not the shortened version and not the colloquial name. And then your role there, and the phone number where we can reach you, and your address. And then letting us know your county will help us determine that we have equal representation by all the counties in our region. And then your partner system. So you should know this if you're a public library or an academic library. If you are uncertain because you are a community-based organization, you can put that down and we'll connect you with the right contact. And then this question is important, describing the segment of the community that you work with. This is how we're going to determine if we have more applicants than we have spaces. We're going to prioritize people who serve with communities that have the most broadband access needs. And that could include seniors, it could include geography, it could be based on just the broadband access in your geographical region. And the requirements, we're asking you to put these down. First off, it is important that you have your supervisor's approval, because we will be giving out contracts to everybody, and we need to have the person who is eligible to sign a contract for your institution sign off on this. And then we need to make sure that you have access to the internet so that you can participate in the training sessions. It is important that you are able to attend the sessions, but if we understand that life happens, so if there's any reason that you know ahead of time, so as far in advance as you know ahead of time that you can't attend a training session, will help us provide you with an alternative so that you can get the information that you need. But they are interactive, and it's great if you can be there, because then you can be an active part of planning the resources with the other people in the cohort. And then this is just asking if you can commit to the biweekly working sessions, which is also an important part of building the cohort as we go into the implementation phase. And then we're asking you to think about the required skills that digital navigators need. The ability to embrace a challenge, excellent self-organization, excellent telephone and communication skills, the ability to demonstrate a positive attitude, the ability to creatively solve problems, and the ability to provide excellent customer service. Somebody said, you don't need to be a technical wizard. You don't need to be qualified to work at an Apple Genius Bar. We're going to train you on what you need to do, but you do need these soft skills to be a successful digital navigator. So that is an overview of what the application is. So we tried to keep it as short and comprehensive as possible. Okay, so I'm seeing a thank you. So I'm hoping that means I answered your question about the application. And as always, please contact us if you have any questions about it. We don't want there to be barriers if you think that you might be good for this program, because having a wide spread of digital navigators across our region is going to be something that's going to solve a lot of the digital equity problems that we see in the Hudson Valley. All right, so next up, Amy has asked, I apologize if someone's already asked this, but do we meet patrons in their homes or in their libraries? Yep, you meet them in the library, but you can do this work remotely. So you can do it over the phone, but it is not a home-based program. So Tammy is asking, I'm trying to decide between two staff members for this role. One has great customer service skills and is well connected to our community, but has limited digital skills. The other is very digitally literate, but is not well tied to the community. What do you see as the most important criteria? That's a great question. I mean, I'm sort of seeing it in both ways. It's like, on one hand, the person with great customer service skills is going to be a natural, and they're going to get the digital skills that they need through the training session. So you're going to be adding to that person's skill base, which is part of the reason that we're providing the investment incentive. This is an investment that you're putting into your staff member to give them more digital skills. But this might be a thing where, as you're working in the implementation process, perhaps you team up the two librarians. Only one can be officially a digital navigator, but that doesn't mean that they can't share information amongst themselves that they learn and build it into a program in the library. Kirsten and Casey, do you have anything to add, or Jen, as people who work with the?
So, I mean, I think the directive that they gave us, right, they said that like sort of those soft skills are kind of the most important thing. So I think that, if I were going to choose, and it's up to you, Carolyn, as you said, maybe it's a chance for the techier person to grow those abilities, those soft skills, those people skills. But it seems like somebody who has a can-do attitude and good with people and connected in the community would do better at this. Because I think one of the most important things about this is getting the information out there. We're going to have our folks who are going to be really trained up and real smart. But as everybody knows, making those partnerships, making those connections, that's the toughest part. Having people know we're here and then we can help, that's always the hardest part, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess we'll throw that back to you, but now you have that information. I hope that helps you make a decision. Paul is saying, Amy, the program is meant to have clients come to, yeah, so Paul is answering Amy's question there. Ken says, thank you. Sue S says, can you give an example of an interaction or a client's needs? Yeah, actually, Tessa, can I throw that question to you, since I think you've been working more closely with this for a little bit longer than me?
Yeah, this is a new project for all of us. So the information that I would refer you to at this point would be to take a look at the Salt Lake City has, through the NDIA website, they have a toolkit that was established from an IMLS grant that NDIA did with the Salt Lake City Public Library. And that is one of the places where this digital navigator model came from. And they have some examples in there. So I am going to paste that into the chat. And if you want to take a look at that toolkit, you might see some examples from their experience, because I don't have any experience with this yet to share with you. So I am going to put that link in the chat right now for you. But I think these are great. That's a great question for, when we have our first meetings and when we start to meet with Paulo and Lo from NDIA too.
So we'll also be in the training, we'll be going through role playing, and they have characters that they're going to give us who have
That's right.
needs that match up with the things that you'll likely see in your communities. We've asked specifically to have them tailored to our Hudson Valley personas that we might see up here, and not necessarily those big city personas that they might have made up for these trainings. But we're likely to see folks who need affordable broadband or folks who need help purchasing technology. And so those are the kind of interactions that you're going to have. People who might have limited experience with technology. So there will be, while not specifically like a class on digital literacy, there will be some coaching that you do for folks to help them complete forms and help them learn to search for information on the internet. So those are, we are new to it, but we know a little bit about it from talking to Paolo at this point.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you. All right, the next question is from Megan. If you have multiple applicants from a single organization but have to limit participants, will you choose an individual or will you let the library choose who participates? At that point, I believe we will let the library choose. All things being equal, if the two participants from the library system answer the same questions the same exact way, but we don't have room for more than one person from an organization, we will contact you and ask you who should be the digital navigator. That makes more sense than us just trying to decide. And then let's see. Hermance asks, do you have a sample intake and outtake form that we can see? That is something in the next few weeks, all of us on the planning team are going to be meeting with Paolo and NDIA to talk about putting together some of the resources. We actually had a call with him yesterday, and where we spent some time talking about the intake and outtake form. And they have a sample one that they've used from other libraries, but they're going to tailor it to us. And what we're trying to decide is the best way to do that, the best technology to use. It might be a Google form. It might be using a program like Asana. It could be paper forms, but they will need to be then sent to us digitally. So it might be easier to keep it digital from the get-go. But I don't have an example ready because we haven't.
Yeah, Carolyn, I'm going to paste in the page in the chat right now from the Digital Navigator website from NDIA. It has samples in there, but Carolyn's right that we're going to have to establish our own forms, and also based on the criteria and the information in our grant application that we need to get on those forms. There's some information that we'll need. It'll look something like this that I just pasted in there, but it'll be, customized for us.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm seeing Marie ask, I'm a little confused with the New York State program and this Hudson Valley project. Can you clarify? Absolutely. These are tangential programs that are similar but different. You are welcome and encouraged to attend the New York State Library Digital Navigators program. It might provide you with some clarity on what digital navigators are in a broader sense. Their program is about digital equity in a holistic picture. Our program is training about how to be a digital navigator in your library. Ours is specific to the Hudson Valley. It's going to be tailored to you. It's going to be interactive. You might hear repeated information if you go to the state library's webinar, and that could, if you're still like trying to grasp the whole concept, I think it's, it would be helpful to attend those so that you're hearing the same information repeated in different ways. But they are not training digital navigators. They're talking about digital equity and the whole picture that statewide. So if you see those come by, yes, please, attend them. They might provide you with some more information and some background. So they're not conflicting with each other, but they're not going to give you the same kind of training and investment incentive and like hand-holding and all that this program will. Okay, so Michael's saying, is this geared toward helping clients find the best deals of technology, figuring out what they need, teaching them how to use it, all three, or something else? Yes, we're going to be yeah, all three working together, basically access of broadband, access of devices, and access of information. So we'll have a resource list that we're going to be building before the training and during the training, where we're going to find links to where people can buy refurbished, inexpensive technology locally, where deals can be found. And then we're going to have that available for digital navigators to share with their clients. And then we're also going to be teaching people how best to use the technology, how to find low-cost broadband. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? I feel.
So one of the things I think is that we're also going to be helping people tap into actual money to help them buy affordable technology, and when available, programs like not necessarily deals. We're not necessarily going through the circulars on Sunday being like, "Ooh, look at this one." We're finding programs that actually help people need access to technology to purchase it, and helping them with that.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of this cohort model too, because maybe you find a hidden gem, in Kingston, and you can share that with your neighbor in Esopus, or you find something that was available to academic libraries, and then you can share it with public libraries. So we're all going to be, as we get information, we're going to be building our resource list into something that's comprehensive and local, and that's why we want to keep the cohorts working with their neighbors, because you might find something that will help somebody else along the way. So I'm just saying, Jen is responded to Marie. Another thing about our local program is that it will allow you to be coached, trained, and heavily supported along the way. So yeah, that's what we are here to help. We're here to, hold your hand, and we're here to share information and give you the support that you need, because it's a big lift, and it's a new skill that you're going to be teaching, that we're going to be teaching to librarians, and it's a new benefit to your community. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat just yet.
Carolyn, do you think it's going to be awesome when people sign up? That's a question I have.
I mean, yeah, yes, it's going to be awesome. I have to say, every time we've already had a good number of people apply, and every email that comes through, I get just like a little bit more excited. I'm so glad that you all are interested in this. There is still room to spread the word. If there are community-based organizations that you know of that you might want to partner with, that might not be like, they might not be people that we've reached out to because they're not on our mailing list, please spread the word. There seems to be room. I think we're going to have enough room for everybody who wants to do it, I hope, based on the trajectory we're on at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And I get you could just send the application, right? The application link right to one of those other organizations, and they can just sign up through there.
Yep. I would I'd send them to our to our webpage first, so that they can have all the answers to their questions. But yeah.
Paste it in the chat just in case people somehow got on the call but didn't see the other materials that we published. And it's great that we're going to have NDIA with us from now until the end of June. I mean, there are partners on this program. They're going to be doing the training, but we have those weekly meetings scheduled with them. So we have them, they established this model, and we have them working with us through the entire length of the project, which is great.
Yeah. And I see a new question in the chat from Michael, which is great. If this hits the max applicants, will you have a second program later down the road? So having a second program wouldn't necessarily be about getting the max applicants. It would be about Wait, hold on. This program is based on the grant that we got from ARPA. And this is what we have given to us right now from the state library. We only have the funds right now to run this through June, but we're doing this with the eye towards keeping the program running. This training is not going to be done in a vacuum. We're going to be able to give you tools that you can use to run this program. I have a 5-year-old on a snow day behind me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. So you'll have the tools that you need to keep the program running. If we receive money again for funding, we will run, and this program is a success, we will absolutely have the template now to run it again. But we don't have a specific plan for that at the moment.
If we get 100 people register for this program, we will celebrate. That is, we intentionally set that bar very high for ourselves so that we could accommodate. We're hoping we can accommodate everybody who wants to apply. That's the goal. That's why we have it set at 100. When we worked, RCLS and Mid-Hudson and Southeastern worked closely together on that number. So I'm hoping that we can make it work. If we reach 100, we'll figure out what to do at that point. There's a good question. Next question, Carolyn, is about level of need.
Yes. Actually, that should bring us to the, Tessa, do you have the link to the digital equity portal handy? Or anybody else here from the team?
Yeah.
Determining the level of need, there is a brand new portal that just got published that is so beautiful and complicated that I keep going in and playing with it, and then just like discovering that there are new things that breaks down the level of broadband access down to the census tract. And you can use that to determine if there is broadband need in your community. And that is the metric that we're using to determine that we needed it here in the Hudson Valley. It shows you, how many people are using mobile only, how many people has full spectrum broadband, and you can also, knowing the community that you work with and their digital equity needs, like if you have seniors who are having trouble using devices, if you have job applicants who have a hard time getting onto websites, if you have people that are just need email for doctor's appointments and things like that, that is a need in your community.
Carolyn, I posted the digital equity portal link in the chat. And I'm also going to paste from our LibGuide the listing of the New York State webinars. So one of the webinars that they did at the state library was on digital equity barriers and strategies, and it was really good. And they talked a little bit about that portal, but they also talked a little bit more about, they talked about broadband need. It was good. So I recommend, and those are all recorded. The state library has them all, the ones that they've already had recorded, and then they're all posted.
And I'll say short answer too, there's almost no community in the Hudson Valley that doesn't have some level of need for a digital navigator. Okay, so question from Dennis. A couple of my teammates were unable to attend this morning. When will you share this webinar recording and slides? As soon as we possibly can. I have to follow the steps to download this and upload this and get the link available. So if the download speeds work fast enough to let me do that today, it'll be today. If not, by Monday. Where will it be distributed through email? Yes, we'll send this out to everybody who registered, and Casey and Kirsten said it'll be in the Mid-Hudson Bulletin tomorrow, and it'll be posted on our website as well. So feel free to share far and wide. I'm seeing thank yous. Any other questions at all, or comments, or anything else from our partners?
No, I'll just say, I think we said it already. I think this is a cool program. I think there is a lot of need out there, and this will be really meaningful for a lot of people in our community. And it's work that the library has been doing. It's just kind of a new, more concentrated, maybe a more trained up way for us to do it. So I hope we have a lot of our libraries participate. And I think some of the things that we learn we'll be able to carry forward too. We're focusing on, broadband access and, those three legs of the digital equity stool. But many of the things we learn about, organizing people coming in and serving them and helping them fill out forms, these are things that we'll be able to use in a lot of the things that we do at the library, especially supporting people with accessing services when they're in need. So I'm really glad that we can do this program, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody on the call.
Yep, and I'm just going to add, this is not library specific. So if you are here from a community-based organization, we're going to provide that same support, that same training that we are doing for the libraries. It's a win-win. You're going to have a great support system. If you're still confused, take the time to review the information placed in the chat, review this recording, and feel free to reach out to us and we will assist. There's really no downside to this, to be quite honest. But if you're concerned, we're here to alleviate any concerns that you may have.
All right. Well, I think with that, we can wrap it up and go play in the snow and have some hot chocolate, or not if you're watching this on a recording and the snow is already melted. Sorry that you missed it. All right. I just want to thank our partners with this. This is one of the biggest partnerships we've undertaken, in my time at Southeastern. So it's really exciting to have such a regional powerhouse with this. And thank the State Library and the IMLS for giving us the money to do this. So we look forward to being in touch.
Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
Thanks, team. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.